live video. I'm super excited to be going live today with Victoria. She has been such a big influence over the years. She's an amazing person. She just talking a little bit about her. She will join in some minutes. So she's over 9 years at Raw Vegan, or mostly Raw Vegan, which is incredible. And I think it is so interesting because she lives the most of the year, hey Tessa, in Sweden. And so it's just super interesting to see how people eat mostly Raw Vegan in such a cold. I hope it works. Did it work? Because, yes, perfect. Hey!
Hello!
How are you doing?
Let's
How are
see
you?
here. My volume is too low. So let's go.
Like I was just saying to the people that you're such a big inspiration for me. You have been on this journey for so many years. And what I think is so interesting about you is that you had so many different career paths and like you look so vibrant. So I'm just really excited for this talk today. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's
You're so
really lovely
welcome.
to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, you're so welcome. And what people maybe don't know is actually you're from Sweden originally, right? And you live also in Sweden for most of the year. And I think that's so interesting because I think that many people have maybe the mindset you can only go raw vegan when you move to the tropics. And so many people say, I'm not gonna bother with it at all because it's just not attainable. But in reality, you can even in a cold climate, you can also eat raw. So yeah, I think it's super cool that you live there. And I actually wanted to ask you, for example, what do you eat in a day in Sweden? Maybe for people who don't know. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I mean, what I eat in a day differ a lot depending on where I am, but
Yeah.
now I am in Sweden, so I will not talk about so much what I eat in the tropics because, yeah, that's just so much easier.
Yeah.
But in Sweden, it also vary a lot actually because I try to eat very seasonally. So I follow the season. So what I eat in summertime might not be the same in wintertime, for example. And I think that is like for everyone, even if you not think about it. But that is just how it is, because if you go to a store, the things that are cheaper, the things that have higher quality is actually in season. So it's just easy to follow the season. But I like to pick lots of greens outside, and that is something I do in summertime mostly. So right now we have summertime. So I eat way more greens now in the summertime compared to what I do in wintertime.
Yeah.
And what I eat in a day is like, it's also differ a lot, even now if it's summertime, because I'm not the person that like to eat the same thing every day, and I don't think that we should do that either.
No.
So I eat very varied, and we have lots of things that is in season. So I like to start my day with fruit, but so say we have like melon in season, so I tend to start my day with melon. I love melon, and it's not like I eat only melon. I tend to eat something more dense afterwards, and that is different every day. So and also I like to take a juice in the morning or coconut water if I have that. I like to go to the Asian store and buy this young Thai coconut. That is the best thing I ever know. But it's kind of expensive, and they are from like Vietnam, so it's not the best thing. But sometimes I make a juice, and I like to use like wild greens right now because I picked it outside, and like dandelion. So dandelion with apple, or orange is really fresh, and orange and fennel. I do different combinations. So if you follow me on Instagram, you probably see, because I post lots of different kind of juices I make. I love to like do lots of vary in my juices, and so I'm not like the medical medium girl that do the celery juice every day, you know. I do different every day, and that is really exciting too, to try new different flavors. So sometimes I use, sometimes I not. I always drink water in the morning, always. But when I eat like a juicy fruit. I always start my day with a juicy fruit. I always love that. So even in wintertime, I always start. I mean, it can be hard to find some juicy, good fruit in the wintertime, but you always find something. I mean, an orange, for example, you always find that, for example. So yeah. When I say that I eat something denser after the melon, it can be like a chia pudding, or maybe sometimes buckwheat porridge or banana ice cream, or some sprouts with some. I make a fruit salad, and sometimes I add some seeds in there, but I usually not eat so much fat in the morning. I just more go for the fruit and the amino acids from like, yeah, sprouts, spirulina, bee pollen, chlorella, you know. So I like to have something more protein rich than just only the fruit, because I work out a lot, and I feel that I need that, you know. Just fruit is not enough, I think. Especially sometimes. I mean, I'm different every day, depending on what I'm doing, if I'm working, if I'm home, if I work out, if I not, you know. So then for lunch, that is also very different depending on what I do. If I'm working, I like to keep things very simple, because I'm not like to chew a lot when I'm working. Yeah, so I tend to just make a smoothie or something. Something fruity and something that is really easy to digest, so I feel light the rest of the day. But if I am home, I sometimes like to eat a salad with some fat source. So yeah, if I am with my computer, for example, I don't like to be too much fruity and up in my head, and because I don't move so much. But usually I move a lot, and I work out a lot. So before work, if I know that I will have a workout pretty soon, I tend to eat something more carbohydrate rich. But yeah, lunch can be like smoothie, salad, maybe porridge, buckwheat porridge or overnight oat, and yeah, it's very different every day. And some kind of fat source like avocado or nut seeds, nut butter. And then for dinner, I like to have very savory, not so much fruit, and more greens, more things that ground me, like vegetables, and I shred some carrots in there, and I put oil on my salads too, and something more like savory and nice, and also I mean, raw food gourmet recipes is really nice to enjoy sometimes also. And if I ate a coconut in the morning, if I drink the coconut in the morning, I tend to eat the coconut meat as a dessert.
It's amazing. It's so cool. Like, it sounds so delicious. And for the people who don't know, Victoria has amazing ebooks, and also like, what's it called in English? The real books, basically, that you can buy.
Paper book. I actually have 3 paper books. So the first one I made was, it's in Sweden. It's in Swedish, but it's like the mirror thing, so you don't really see so much. But that is my first book with lots of recipes, and then my second paper book is Nordic Raw Food, if you translate it. It's really heavy, this book. It's super thick. It has so much recipes, like 200 recipes. And then we have the 52 smoothie book. And these smoothies taste like dessert, really like dessert. We have like chocolate covered strawberry and chocolate muffin and pigeline and strawberry cheesecake. We have all the dessert in smoothies. So 52 smoothies. So I have free paper book, and also I have 5 ebooks that is actually in English. They are on my payhip.com/Raw Veganse. I have it linked in my profile on Instagram. And then I have 2 Swedish ebooks also. So 5 English and 2 Swedish ebooks.
So cool. So definitely for the people watching, check them out, because I mean, what you post on Instagram, the recipes, they look so delicious. And it's so interesting because I never have the idea I like, for example, to combine sprouts with spices. I never have the idea. And then I look at your Instagram page and I'm like, wow, looks great. And I have, because I was part of some raw vegan bundles. So I have, for example, the Mexican ebook. I have that. Yeah, and it's really great recipes. So yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah,
And
I
I
love
think,
recipes. I mean, that is a way to eat vegetables and in a
yeah,
really delicious way. And I am a raw food chef, and I love to create new recipes. So it's not so often I eat the same thing every day because I'm really curious about new flavor combination, and then
yeah,
I'm not afraid to try different things because when you eat raw food, it's like everything tastes so good on its own. So you don't have to be afraid to combine different things because I mean, some things might not be so good together, but it's not that bad, so you can't eat it. So it's no
yeah,
waste, even if it's not perfect. The only thing can be like if you take too much chili or too much garlic or even the worse, if you have the hing asafetida spice, is like, oh, you
yeah,
know, but too much salt or all these kind of extreme things that can happen with all food you make. But I mean, otherwise you can't really do a big mistake, I think, when you have raw food because everything is just so delicious.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And I think it's so important to try out new recipes because for me, it can happen that I fall into a rut. Like I make one recipe and then, oh, it tastes good. And then I make it the whole time. And I'm like, it's a little bit boring, but it's boring because I don't try out new things. So I really have to make an effort to try out different things,
Yeah,
different flavor combinations, because I think so many people, like at least the people that I meet when I say, oh yeah, I really love to eat raw food, they in their head it's carrots, apple. That's what they imagine it to be. But there are so many recipes that you can do with a. I love a food processor, blender. Is so many different combinations. It's really, yeah. So I would highly recommend for people to try out different recipes and to open their mind. It's really cool what you can do.
and also if you find a recipe that is kind of your favorite, you can add or take away some ingredients, and it will be completely another recipe.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if you have like a tabbouleh salad, for example, the tabbouleh, you can take the cucumber away and the tomato away, and you can take mango and avocado instead, and it will be a total another dish. So you
yeah.
just change small things, and you will get another dish. And it's really important to get variety in your diet, and also variety of different combinations, because when you have different combinations, your gut work very differently. So if you say you will digest mango, the mango will digest in a total another way if you eat a mango with an avocado, if you eat a mango with lettuce leaf. So it will be like a new fruit or a new thing for your body to work with. And the more things you work with, the stronger you will actually be also. So variety is also, yeah, it's really, really good, even if it's one ingredient that you mix up with different things. But of course, you should have I think you should have 150 different plants in a week to be perfect, and that is fruit, berries, nuts, seeds, vegetables, and roots, and yeah, 150 different plants in a week.
So,
I have
and
heard, but it's not so many people that do that, but you can have that thought that would be very, yeah, strengthening for you to have lots of different things.
yeah, so cool. Tessa wrote, I was obsessed with zucchini noodles for over a year. I can't look at them anymore. Yeah, it happened to me too with certain things. Like mushrooms. For me, I have sometimes every 4 months, I'm like, I really want to eat mushrooms. And then I prepare mushrooms. Then I eat them for a week so much. And I'm like, no, I cannot look at them anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But
Yeah, you
actually,
got different ingredients, and maybe it's just the body that tells you,
yeah,
stop, you don't need it because you have eaten it so much. So take like eggplant, for example, instead of mushrooms, or change something. Your body can always tell you if you're open to it. If your body tells like, no, stop, I don't think that you're actually a need for that ingredients anymore. But then it comes back. It's so you have to be very open, and that is so beautiful with eating more clean, because you get more you know more about the food because you come closer to nature. So the body recognize the food you eat, and know what's good and know what's not good if you're just open to it and feel your sensations.
exactly. And I think also nature, the seasons change, right? So for example, there's persimmon season and then it ends, and then there's mango season
Yeah.
and it ends. So yeah, except for banana, they always stable.
Yeah, and
But
that is also something I'm not like. I don't like bananas so much, and that is because probably it's not in season where I am, and it's not like I have it all year around. So
yeah,
so it's not logical that I eat it all the time either. So bananas is something I actually eat not so much of because yeah, I have them all the time. So yeah, it's kind of boring. And otherwise, fruit never can become boring because if they are perfect in season, you always like, oh, I have this for breakfast. Oh, I have this for lunch. You know, but bananas is just like, oh.
so true. And I wanted to ask because you're doing like you prepare a lot of sprouts, right? Because I see on your Instagram, and I'm just since maybe 2 months, I'm really getting more into sprouts. It's so cool, and today I made in the food processor. I processed banana, dates, cinnamon, and some berries and some sprouts, and it tastes so delicious. So I'm like, why did I not start it earlier? It's really, I think, for especially cold climates, if you live in Germany, Sweden, Norway, it's a really great source of calories, and yes, it's great
Yes,
to go.
I love sprouts. I do lots of sprouts. So, so I have like yeah, lots of these layers, and I really love them. And I think that is kind of a key if you're, especially if you're living outside the tropics, that you do the
I agree.
sprouts because that is a source of like living food because mostly of the food is imported. So therefore, it doesn't have like the biophotones and all the enzymes that it should have because it's kind of old. So in wintertime, for example, I eat less tender greens, and that is also because if you eat too much greens, you will be very cold. So I like more the like cruciferous and the roots, and that is yeah a little bit tougher to digest, but you can do different recipes with different metals, and you can make them easier to digest. But I love the sprouts because that is a source of greens, and that also keeps like circulation really good, and also yeah, it makes you feel more alive in the darkness. So sprouts is just perfect, but I do it all year around because yeah, they are such a great food for the body. It's lots of amino acids in there, and yeah, you should have like some kind of source that is rich in amino acids if you do raw vegan, not only do the fruit and things like that. So, and also of course you have the nuts and seeds, but it can be a little bit heavy if you eat too much nuts and seeds also. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's also what I was thinking because I think many people, when they go to a raw vegan diet, they say, "Oh, I don't feel satisfied," because it is different. Like if you eat a cheeseburger or if you eat raw vegan, it is different. And I think that sprouts can be so helpful because I think many people, when they go raw vegan, because they miss this dense calorie source or this feeling of being satisfied, satiated,
yeah,
they go to eat a lot of nuts and seeds. But then maybe they gain a lot of weight. So I think that sprouts could be so helpful as well for people who are just getting started and they really want something that is more satiating. And so I
yeah.
think because sprouts naturally they're low and like much lower in fat than I think nuts and seeds. So I
Yeah,
think that would be a great option.
I am not against fat or so. It's just that nuts and seeds tend to be very heavy, especially nuts, because they are often pasteurized, so you can't really like activate them. If you soak
Yeah,
them, they are still kind of dead, you know. But
yeah,
if you, some seeds is actually raw, and I notice a huge difference, like sunflower seeds, for example, and flax seeds, and they are raw, and that is way easier to digest. So because you have the alive enzyme lipase in there that gets activated when you soak it, but if you have something that is pasteurized, the enzymes they are gone, so you can't like activate something that is already dead, you know.
yeah,
That is a problem that almost everything is pasteurized, but I'm not against the fat because I like to actually add some oils to my sprouts, and that is cold pressed, like unfiltered olive oil or camelina oil. That also is camelina oil is yeah, is camelina seed from the camelina seeds. We have them here. They actually grow in Sweden. Camelina of Sweden is the brand, and that is a seed that is very rich in omega-3 fatty acid. 1 teaspoon, or I think one or two, I don't remember, one or two. It can also different on the seeds. That is like the whole daily dose of omega-3 fatty acids. So just 1 to 2 teaspoons. And it's a really delicious oil. So I tend to, it's like a mix between flax oil and almond oil in this flavor, I think, if I would just describe it. But I like to put that on my sprouts. And I also recommend people to put a little bit of oil to the sprouts and a little bit of lemon juice, because when they do that, they become softer and easier to digest. And that is also true with like vegetables, especially tougher greens like kale and so on. They need to get a little bit massaged with something that is fatty, you know. And you can use like avocado and things like that also. But yeah, other fat sources is a little bit heavier. So if you have sprouts, for example, they get so much easier to digest, and you can eat more of them if you have a little bit of oil and a little bit of maybe lemon juice or something like that. Yeah, and you can have your seasonings and things like that also.
That's so cool. I saw on your Instagram also a recipe about that with sprouts, oil, avocado. I cannot remember, but it looked so delicious. So yeah. And I also wanted to ask you, because I think many people they think, okay, when you go vegan, you need to move to the tropics. But why do you live in Sweden? Why don't you go and live in, I don't know, Bali, for example, or Thailand? Why do you choose to stay a lot of time in Sweden?
Yeah, that is a really good question, actually. It's like I have grown up here. I'm born in Sweden. I am like, is my love is here. It's like, yeah, my family here. I am used to everything here, and my friends are here, and everything is like, I love Sweden a lot because I'm so used to it. But I'm not a fan of the cold winter, I have to say, and I love to travel a lot. And I was modeling and for many years, and I have been traveling around, and I also like traveling. Yes, it's just one of my biggest interests to come to new places. So I tend to do that more in the winter time, and then be here in the summertime. But of course, I'm here in Sweden in winter time also, and that is just because it's a nice place to ground myself in. It's very safe here. It has lots of advantages. It's like, I mean, I'm not having the tropical fruit and the great price of the vegetables and the weather, but I have so much in other things. So that makes me to like stay here in Sweden. But still, I am very open to traveling, and maybe not move to another country full time, but be in another country, a few weeks and here and there, and that is just amazing, and that is something I do, and I want to continue doing lots of traveling.
Oh, sounds amazing. For me it was similar, because I was thinking when I turned vegan, I also need to move to the tropics, and then COVID, like the whole situation was, but I lived in the Canary Islands for some years, but then after this whole situation was ended, I actually went traveling in Southeast Asia, because I was still thinking maybe I want to go to the tropics and live in the tropics. But what I realized is the food, I have to say, is amazing, but there are so many different areas that were missing for me, and I could never imagine myself living full time in Thailand or Bali. It's just not me. So I think that, as you said, there are more areas than fruit or than food. And for me, it's the same. But I actually really want to go back to the Canary Islands, because I feel really at home there.
Yeah.
And I've seen you also been to Las Palmas, right?
Yeah.
I want to go back there. So I will see. And for those of you who don't know, the Canary Islands, they belong to Spain, and they're subtropical climate. So not tropics, but also not German winter. So yeah.
Yeah, I love the Canary Islands because it's like you have the best of the tropics, but you don't have the worst thing about the tropics. Like the poor begging people and all the drama. It's very safe, and I love the Canary Island a lot. It's a safe island, and the people are really nice, and that is actually a place that I would love to live in myself. And I have been there a few times and on vacations, and I just love it so much. You have the great fruit and the great vegetables. but you don't really have some disadvantages that you have. Like, I mean, of course you have that in every place, but not so much if you compare to if you are in like Thailand and Bali and things like that. These are really nice places, but for me, it's not a place that I would enjoy so much if I live there full time. And you don't have so much great vegetables, and it's hard to find organic. And
That's
yeah,
true. And
so
because
it's not something that doesn't work.
yeah, for sure. Like I think it has so many advantages and disadvantages, and I think you really need to be a person. Like I feel I could live there, but just because my personality is a lot like that, like I love Spanish culture and all of that, but I agree there's some disadvantages. And when I was there, for example, it was difficult to get like certain things, like organic things. I had to or buy a dehydrator. You cannot buy it there because you cannot really order online, because when you order online, it maybe takes 3 months until something goes to the Canary Islands. So for sure, it has some disadvantages. Also, sprouting. I didn't really found sprouts, like small things.
Yeah,
So, but I
and
don't know.
it's not that clean either. It's hard to find like clean water, and everything is just just a little bit tougher. And when I have been in the tropics, I live like a fruitarian. I only eat like fruit and coconuts and so on, and maybe do simple recipes if I can find vegetables. And nuts and seeds is also hard to find. So it's like I'm living like a fruitarian, and then I go to restaurants sometimes and eat raw food, because you can get raw food on different restaurants, especially in Bali and some places in Finland also. But I am like missing my own way of making food, because I am a robot chef and I love to create new things, but I can't find the ingredients, and I don't have the right things, you know. Of course I can buy blender and dehydrator and everything, but it's hard to find the ingredients I would like to play with, because it's more like it's a limited amount of things you have available. Even if you think that, oh, you have so much tropical fruit, but that's it.
Yeah, for sure. Like I mean, Canary Islands, there are islands, so it's very limited. That's so true. I think you're really limited. For example, in Germany, like it's a bigger country, and I just go to Amazon and I order or to different fruits. Like there's so much different variety that you can order, so many different spices, and Canary Islands, they're quite limited. That's true. And also,
for Canary Islands, that was more if you are in Thailand or Bali. I think Canary Island, I think I can find almost everything I want if you go to different stores, but in tropical countries outside Europe is really, really hard, I think. But in Canary Island, you can make it kind of work, but But of course, ordering online, you have to get like more used to it in another country and things like that. But when you're home, you know everything, but you know where to get different things and so on.
So true. Yeah. And also, I actually wanted to ask you, because you've changed, like you had so many different careers, right? Like you were modeling, or you still do a little bit of modeling, right? And you were like an elite badminton player. Now you're a raw food chef. You're a coach. And I wanted to ask you, how did you find the courage to start something new? Because I mean, like you can, like when I read, okay, she was maybe a model and a badminton player, but in reality it probably was a huge transition to go from one thing to another thing, and maybe you have some doubts. Or how did you overcome that, and how did you trust in yourself that you can actually be successful in a new career path? Yeah, it would be so cool to hear your opinion about it.
I think everything comes from some kind of passion. And because I have passion to like for fashion, for example, and I also have passion for badminton and dancing and these kind of things and sports, and I also had I had different and also the food, of course, the raw food. So it's my passions that brings me to make something, because if I am only in a place where I'm working and I'm not interested in what I'm working with, it's like it feels very boring. So for me, I like to do the things I love. So I kind of fight for doing that more, because if I am in a work I don't have time for doing what I love, and I know that I don't feel that good. But of course, I also have my downs where I don't get so much money, maybe, or is some kind of problem with it, or maybe it's too much at the same time because I have like an extra job and then I have lots in my business, and then it's just whoa, it gets too much at the same time. So it can be very ups and downs, but you have to, through the years, I have to learn. I got to learn a little bit how to work to make it, yeah. But yeah, so I think it's the passion that, and the force I have to do things, to do things I really like. And of course it's a little bit risky sometimes, but that is also, I mean, I am that kind of person that I can take the risk if that means that I also can take the chance to be happier.
Yeah.
So that is how I see it. So if I want to be happier, I can take a risk for it instead of being like a little bit happy, a little bit like depression all the time. I mean, I can be up instead. So that is my view of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting, and because that's a topic that is so important to me as well right now, because I finished university some time ago and I'm working on this little business, and it's time to get like a real job. But I think my personality, because I was always really good at school, because I always like to learn. Like I love to learn, I like to grow, and I feel for me a job where you don't grow is I would die internally.
Yeah.
So it's just I always need to, yeah, so that's just such an important topic for me to keep reminding myself. Eva, you like, even though entrepreneurship, as you said, is ups and downs, it's really something that I think I aspire, because it like it fits my personality type so much. And I talked with
You go through that phase, I think. Yeah. So sometimes you can feel so low if you are down, but it's just something you have to go through, and it's so much in the head, everything, and that is something I have noticed through the years, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's so cool. I also talked with Wendy about it. You know Wendy, the founder of the Dutch Business, and she also said she was a teacher, but she also, because she's also the personality type who really values growth and learning, so she actually became really depressed in this teacher job, and she didn't know what to do. She didn't know what to do, and then she quit and started a job where she could continuously learn and learn, and that's when she actually felt like just a lot happier. So I think it's just in life so much about what is good on paper versus what is actually good for your personality. And
exactly. And for me, living life and is like you want to get better in things, and you want to learn things, and you want to explore the world. And this is how I get happy. And that might not be the same for everyone, of course not, but for me that is like the meaning of life, to grow. And
yeah, for sure. And also because you have a Raw Vegan catering service, right? Could you, like, what was the idea, or how did you create it, or how did you have the idea to create raw food and then give it to other people? Yeah.
It was actually not my idea from the beginning. It was more that the fact that people actually asked me, "Hey, I see you make fantastic food. Can you make that for me?" And I was just, "What? I want your food. Can I buy it from you?" And I was just, "No, you can't buy my food." But then I was just thinking, "Oh my God, if you want this kind of food, you can't like buy it anywhere." So yes, I can't say no. I can't say no. Of course, I can make some food, and you can buy it for me. So that's was the way it started. That it was actually someone that asked for it. Because we don't have like raw vegan restaurant. Okay, that time when I started, we had raw vegan restaurant, but it was not that good, So and it's not that kind of food. It's like it was like the heaviest food you can eat, like regular raw food restaurant. You have this like pizza with nut crust and the nutty cheese sauce, and then you have the sprinkle nuts on top, and then you have lots of nutritional yeast. It's like this kind of heavy things. Nuts on nuts on nuts, nut burger or nut sauce and nut bread. And so yeah, that is not the kind of food you should eat when you eat raw food, and that is not the kind of food that you really feel good on. I mean, of course, I love raw gourmet food, but I think that if you want it to feel good in your body, you have to pair it with lots of raw vegetables. Like use your raw vegetables. Like just a salad on side, but you don't really get the big salad that you need if you order a raw gourmet at a restaurant. So it's not that the raw gourmet is a problem. The problem is that you don't have enough raw vegetables aside to it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes. And not so you need more like light food, and also sprouts is really important. And it's really rare that I actually see sprouts in a raw food restaurant. That is very weird, actually. We had some sprouts at the Raw Veganse restaurant I worked in for a few years, and I know it's hard to make it work, but when you get the routines to wash and soak, and it's a really cheap way to sell food, because sprout is like the cheapest food you can eat on a raw vegan diet, I think. So it's a really good food to have at restaurants instead of buying all this expensive greens.
So I think that's people, because I think also people say, oh, raw vegan diet super expensive, and it can be, but I think it also depends a little bit how you make the food. Like as you said, sprouts are really cheap in a lot of parts or in a lot of countries. So it's really cool. And how is it? So people, for example, they call you and they say, hey, I want you to make me like this and this and this food. Or maybe even if there's an event, they call you, hey, can you prepare the food? And then you prepare the food, right? Or
yeah, it's kind of that. So I have an email, and people can just mail me if they want me to make something, and then we can go through what and where, and and all this kind of stuff, and so I have different dishes that I have suggestions on, and so I give it to them, and then they can change things if they like, and I also change through the seasons what I make, and depending also where I am, where should I deliver the food, where should I make the food, and all these kind of things.
Yeah. But it is in Sweden, right? So you don't ship it. It is in Sweden.
Okay. But if I am in another country, of course I can make it in another country for other people also. If I just have a kitchen to be in, and the ingredients to find, because here in Sweden everything is so easy to find. Where I should buy everything, and but on other places it's not that easy if you're new to it.
Okay, then for the people who are watching this video, definitely check out Victoria's catering service if you're in Sweden. Yeah, because I think it's a cool idea, because it's true, there are not so many raw food restaurants, even in the Canary Islands, there's almost nothing like raw food.
No. They have lots of vegan great places. Avocado Simo is a restaurant that have some raw foods actually that is really, really good. But otherwise, you have the vegan restaurant, and you also have the Vegetopia that have some raw dishes like gazpacho and things like that. That is also good. But it's as you said, it's not easy to find raw food. But you can take a small starter, and then you take another starter, and then so you can mix, and also they tend to be, especially at vegan places or vegetarian places, they are a little bit flexible with things also. So that is something I like on the Canary Island, that they are so kind and they are just flexible, and so that is something I really like. And even if you go to a regular restaurant, and
So true. Yeah, that's true. I really like my ex-boyfriend actually was from the Canary Islands. So nice people. Really nice people.
Yeah.
Okay. And actually, that was already the whole questions that I wanted to ask. There's just one question left, and that's, what are your three favorite fruit, and what are your three favorite dishes that you create? Like maybe you have all-time favorite dishes? Yeah.
Oh, I I mean, that is like the toughest question you ever can get if you ask me, because I am so in love with so many different things, you know.
Yeah,
And if I get, so if I will say my favorite fruit, that is
yeah,
something that is in season, like super super ripe, tree ripen, and like just perfect. So
yeah,
that can be so many different places. I can answer that question and say, I mean, durian is really that should be my number one, I think, but also it's not always the number one for me, because
yeah,
sometimes durian is not that good, and sometimes it's like very warm outside and you don't want heating durian, you know, you want something more light, so that would be like maybe a melon or something. So,
yeah.
but I really love durian, and also, yeah, sapodia, egg fruit. Okay, that was three, but I wanted to say more, you know. I wanted to say papaya
Yeah.
and maybe a perfect mango and persimmon, you know. So that is a really hard question, I think. Oh my God, I just can't answer. And if I say my three dishes, it's like the same there also, because sometimes I feel like I want something more light, and sometimes I want something more fatty and heavy, you know. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But say if I go to a raw vegan restaurant, I tend to like love the raw vegan pizza if I get a salad to it, or
Yeah.
yeah, if I make, I mean, my own raw vegan pizza is fantastic. That is also actually something I sell a lot of, because other people also think it's fantastic.
Mhm.
So pizza, and yeah, I love pesto a lot. So if I make like yeah, zucchini noodles is really good to it. Also like carrot noodles, and
Yeah.
I love carrot pesto. That is just something. Yeah, they just pair so well, and I eat some crackers at the side. That is something I do often. I love pesto so much. And the third, oh my God, lasagna maybe? Yeah, lasagna you can make fantastic with zucchini layers. I just love zucchini so much.
Okay.
So yeah, that would be. But also you can make so much other things. It's like sushi, and yeah, you have so much things you can do. It's just, or a wrap. Ah.
I think that was the perfect question, because now in my mind I have like all the recipes that I want to do. Because it's
Yeah,
true,
I mean,
for me, it's
I
so
have
easy.
over 1,000 of recipes I have created myself. Over 1,000 of recipes I have created
Yeah.
myself.
So
So it's
that's
just, wow,
it's
it's so
so
hard to
true.
say.
Because I think most people, to be honest, they always eat, like for me as well a little bit. They always eat the same. Like if you're on a standard diet, you eat maybe, at least in Germany, in the morning you eat a yogurt or bread. For lunch you eat bread or sausage. So you always kind of eat the same. And yeah, but with raw food you can create so much different things.
Really.
So
Yeah.
I'm really inspired. Like I think when I stop this life, I will go to the kitchen and I will say, what will I create now?
And that
Yeah.
is something, when I am in the kitchen, that is my time when I am creative,
Yeah.
and also that is good for the brain to actually think a little bit, instead of you just do the things, you just do your habits you have all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like a brain workout when you go to the kitchen. Don't just take things because it's a habit, and when you go to a like a store, you just don't take things you usually do. See all the other things. What is this? Oh, it was a kohlrabi. And then you're like in the store. What should I make with this? And it doesn't matter. Just buy it, and then you recreate something when you come home. And because you have to eat it because you bought it, you know. So
Basically,
just do that, and yeah. So if you think about buying something, and just take something else instead, and see what you can make. So see the making of food, the preparing of the food is your time of the day to be creative, and to like work out your brain, and then get your taste bud new things, and yeah, and smell things also. So that is really healthy and really good for the body, and that is also really meditating. So you can see your time in the kitchen making food as a meditation, because you're you're there making the food, nothing else, because you're not working in a habit. You have to think, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so cool, and I think it's amazing because I'm also the last month I really try out a lot of different vegetables, and it's really cool. Like there are so many things that I as a child, I never ate like celery. I never ate zucchini. I never ate so many things. Cauliflower, I never ate, and now on the raw food diet, I eat it. So yeah, it's really, really inspiring. So
yeah, you shouldn't be afraid to try new things. And if you don't like it, maybe you can. I mean, if you put soy sauce or nutritional yeast on something, okay, you can eat it. It's not like I use these kind of things, but I have it at home in case something just not taste so good. You can just put a little bit soy sauce or maybe some fat also, and some sugar rich like mashed date or something. You can eat it, and then you know that okay, this wasn't that good, so I will not do it again. But you still can eat it.
okay, so that were all the questions. I want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Victoria. And for the people who are watching, and I will also post it on the YouTube channel. So for the people who are watching, definitely check out Victoria's ebooks, paper books, raw food catering service. She has so much, and her recipes. I have some of her ebooks already. I can say that your recipes are really awesome and so many great ideas that I would never think.
I have 3 recipes at my YouTube channel, Raw Veganse, and also at my Instagram account. I have some free recipes, but of course, it's not that much recipes that I have in my books. That is like, yeah, I have lots of recipes in my books, but also you can find some free, and also at my website, rawvegan.se. But that is in Swedish, but you can translate it actually, and I have all the ingredients and measurements in English and English caps and things like that also. So at my website you can see a little hint of what I have, and then you can get way more in my books and ebooks. Okay. As I said, I have over 1,000 recipes, so yeah, it's a lot.
Nice. Yeah, you have so much. And also today on your YouTube channel you posted a recipe, the raw taco meat recipe, and it looks really delicious. Maybe I'm gonna do that.
I made it by hand. I just made it, the taco meat by hand, and then I made a fantastic taco salad with the sauce and all the vegetables. And wow, that taco bowl is so delicious. So you should really go and check out that recipe, I think. Yeah.
Sure. So thank you so much for everything. It was really great. And I have so much inspiration to make a lot of delicious recipes. So thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for being at your channel. It was really nice to talk with you. And yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good day. And thank you so much for watching also, for the people who watch.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.